Hello, welcome to this CGTN live streaming. We're at the Qingdao Film Museum. I'm here with a new American friend, Adrian.
Hello.
And Ms. Sun Nan, who works here at the museum giving tours. So let's get started. Without further ado, let's walk and then kind of talk about the museum.
Sure.
可不可以跟我们介绍一下这个是什么时候开的呢？
博物馆是从2018年4月正式对外开放。整个场馆的话是分为3层，一层的话主要是电影博物馆展区，展陈面积大概有2700平方米。
Great, got it. So the museum was opened in 2018. Have you been here before, Adrian?
No, I have not.
Yeah, but you've been to the nearby production base, right?
Yeah.
It's called the Eastern Hollywood.
Yes, yeah, and it's really impressive. The whole area is massive. I think they have over 30 sound studios or sound stages, and all sorts of amazing stuff there. It's very cool.
So basically, as I understand it, this film museum was built at the same time along with the production studio compound to kind of create Qingdao as like this city of film to promote the whole industry. And you can tell it's very new, 是18年建的嘛, so it's like very well decorated and everything.
Yeah.
You can see the history from the very beginning of modern cinema. So movie as the art of form is actually quite new if you think about it, isn't it?
Yeah, oh, for sure, yeah. If you consider just, art and human history in general, yeah.
And I think I was reading about it yesterday, I think the first movie with sound didn't come out until like the 1920s or something.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Great. Are you a big movie fan?
Oh, huge, yeah. I love movies. I love watching movies. I probably watch 3 or 4 each week if I have time.
That's
more
amazing.
if I could watch.
So I love this section of the museum. It's probably one of my favorite sections. You have all these movies from different eras going back as early as 1993. And you've got
1913, 1920, yeah.
You've got all these little screenshots of the scenes from the movies. Have you seen any of these movies?
Well, I've seen Casablanca.
Such a classic.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
It's a love story.
I think I watched Citizen Kane with my mom many years ago. I haven't rewatched it. I've been meaning to because it's such a famous movie.
It's so famous. I tried to watch it, but I didn't really get it. I don't think I finished it. But I think it's like very often quoted as like one of the greatest movies in history or something. And it's amazing to think like that the so-called greatest movie made was made in 1941.
Right, yeah.
And that just, I think that kind of speaks to like the nature of this art that, as technology evolves and everything, at the end of the day, it's still about storytelling and about like, the essence of art making. Yeah, so these are some real classics. I can imagine
Gone with the Wind.
Yeah, I can imagine people coming here and like playing games with these, kind of guessing the name of these movies.
Yeah.
If you're like a big movie person, that would be really fun. And I love how Sound of Music, absolute favorite.
Yeah, there you go.
I think I read a number of some lady who watched it like thousands of times, and she holds some kind of Guinness record of watching it the most. I can definitely watch it 1,000 times for sure. Yeah,
there's definitely some awesome movies in this collection right here. Some Stanley Kubrick films.
And lovely to see Chinese movies being featured here.
Yeah.
Do you know these actors? They're super famous
No, I don't.
actors. This is Leslie Chow.
Oh, I've heard the name, yeah, okay.
Absolute legend. Unfortunately, died young, very sad.
Okay.
And another icon in Chinese cinema, Wang Zuxian. I don't know her English name, but very beautiful, huh? This is a great wall for like social media as well, to take a photo with all this.
Yeah, I would definitely have my phone out taking some photos right now.
Japanese.
There's a lot of recognizable faces. You have Jim Carrey. I think that's Kate Winslet.
Yeah. Kate Winslet. So have you seen many Chinese movies?
I've seen a few. Not too many, because it's difficult for me to find some with proper English subtitles.
That is a challenge.
Yeah,
but I think
yeah.
that's changing. Like a lot of the movies these days.
Yes, yeah,
that are
especially
shown-
with some of the streaming sites where you can watch movies. A lot of the streaming sites are trying to accommodate as many people as possible, like have a wider audience. So they're actually going back and adding subtitles or translating movies having subtitles in multiple languages.
Great. Have you
Yeah.
seen this one? Farewell, My Concubine.
Ah,
It's deemed
This
as
one-
one of the best Chinese movies ever
yeah,
made.
yeah.
I think it won some award at Cannes.
Okay.
Yeah. Have you seen it?
No, I haven't, but many of my friends have recommended it. Who's the? Do you know who the director is?
Chen Mengfei. He's one of
okay.
the most famous. I don't know what you call like fifth generation, fourth generation directors.
Okay.
Yeah. He hasn't made a new movie in a long time though.
I see.
Don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
This one. Have you seen this one? In the Mood for Love.
No.
Wong
I
Kar
haven't.
Wai is also
No,
one
no.
of the, and is actually being played in cinemas again.
Oh, really?
Yeah, after I
that's
think
awesome.
20 years, I want to say something like that.
Huh.
I just saw it in the theater because when it was being played, I was like 7, so obviously I couldn't see it in the cinema. But now it's being played again on the big screen.
Oh, that's great.
It was just a different experience. I mean, to see Maggie Chong's beautiful face on the big screen is just a totally different experience. Yeah, it's just absolutely amazing movies.
Yeah.
And I think it shows you like one of the charms of cinema is that we can be coming from completely different countries
Right. Yeah. We can share the same experience and have maybe even the same.
and then
reaction
immediately
from it.
have something in common to talk about. If you love Wes Anderson,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I'm a huge fan of Wes Anderson. Every time he has a new movie, I have to watch it. And
Yeah, me too.
They're so entertaining. His use of color in his movies is just
Yeah,
so
it's
unique.
It's amazing how our aesthetics can be so universal, like
Yeah,
across the
yeah.
world. Great. So this is a showcase of some of the greatest movies in world history. And then here you have all the different equipment
different
used over the
filming hardware.
years.
Film and then going to digital.
And
Oh,
here,
here we have a nice little VR experience.
kids can try the VR set. 咱们这边有很多小朋友过来吗？
对，会有一些互动体验区，包括 VR 前面的魔镜动作捕捉技术，都是欢迎大家都可以来体验。也是深受小朋友的喜欢。
就是这个也算是咱们当地发展旅游业的一部分，是不是？
对，像一些电影上的技术发展。
So I think it is sort of like the whole part of the plan of developing the film industry into like a, like a multiverse industry where you have tourism and you have the movie production and everything. So,
Yeah.
When you come here, you can see the beautiful scenery and visit the museum. So it's like a very wholesome experience and learning.
Yeah.
So this
There's
is the
nice-
part where you can try the motion capture
Yeah,
technology.
like motion tracking. Let's
Come on.
see. All right, let's see.
Let's see.
What is this one gonna do?
What do you transform into? Oh, there you go.
Oh, is this me? Oh, there I am.
Oh, you become like a soldier in armor.
Oh, I think I might be too big for this.
Can you see?
Nope,
Maybe I'm interfering.
I can't tell.
它是不是要出来一下再进去
Oh, here we go.
Oh, there you go.
All right.
Very cool. Like a what movie is this from?
Not sure. It looks more like a computer game.
这个不是某一个电影的这个，是某一个电影的这个人物吗？啊 like an animation character.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I can see kids loving it.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And actually, we were with the older gentleman. He also loved it. Do some
yeah, it's
martial
in
art
there.
moves. Do some kicking.
If it can get my leg. Nope.
Oh, it doesn't get your leg.
Yeah.
Great. This is a very popular spot for
Yeah,
something
you can see it's-
interactive.
Generating quite a crowd.
Yeah.
Oh.
Flower. So, did you know? I know you've lived here for 3 years.
6 years.
6 years.
Yeah, yeah.
Did you know Qingdao is a UNESCO city of film?
I did not know that actually.
Yeah. So here are some cities of film designated by UNESCO around the world. Busan in Korea, in Australia, in Brazil, in the UK. Yes.
UNESCO Creative Cities.
Yeah, so I think UNESCO also recognized the role of film industry in promoting the development of city and cultures, and by recognizing these movies around the world, they hope to promote like the growth of the industry.
So I know these UNESCO Creative Cities, I know they include film, which that's what this one is showcasing, but also includes music and literature as well. So they have different categories for UNESCO Creative Cities.
Is your hometown one of the creative cities?
I think not my hometown, but New York City and New Orleans. I think New York City for literature and New Orleans for music.
Interesting. And Qingdao became an official UNESCO City of Film in 2017. Where were you in 2017?
2017, I was back home in Rhode Island. Yeah, I was working.
Have you been to China at that point?
Yeah, I'd already been to China. The first time I came to China was in 2011. And I was living in Jinan. I lived in Jinan for about 3 years. And then I went back to the US, and I was back home for about 4 years. And then in 2018, I decided I wanted to come back to China.
1 year after Qingdao became City of Film, no doubt for that. Great. So now we're entering the section of the museum where it's about the history of Qingdao and cinema. It was really cool that we visited like the first cinema built by Chinese in Qingdao that opened in 1930s.
Yeah, that is really cool.
Yeah, and this is, as she just told us, this is one of the early projectors used in one of the movie cinemas.
That is so massive.
Cinemas in Qingdao.
It's funny to think that you have this is a projector, and now you can have a digital projector in your own home.
It's very complicated.
That's only going to be maybe about this big.
Operation back in the days. 这个是用那个炭烧的吗？就是它那个发光的那个光源。是用什么烧的？具体是？就是。
So this looks like a reflector plate for the light bulb, I think, or the bulb that they have.
Yeah. So.
This thing is solid.
Yeah. It's kind of interesting how Qingdao has this, should we say, complicated history with Germany throughout history.
Yep.
But at the same time, it brought cinema into the city in a way, also the Qingdao beer.
Right,
obviously.
of course, yeah. And also, they probably weren't thinking about this when it happened, but a lot of the European architecture buildings in Qingdao, because a lot of them are still here, well preserved.
Featured in lots of movies.
Yeah, featured in lots of movies. Yeah,
very unique for a Chinese city to have that sort of architecture, which is part of the city's appeal.
Yeah. So any movies that are trying to film sort of like any period dramas taking place maybe 1930s or 1940s, Qingdao has so many locations and so many places where you could film.
Just like cinematic, I think the structure of the buildings.
Right.
This one, I saw it yesterday on the internet. It's very cute.
Yeah. I think it shows them playing on number 1 bathing beach.
Yeah, you recognize the beach.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was released in the 1980s, but such a heartwarming story. You said your parents are both teachers.
No, my mother's a teacher.
Your mom's a teacher.
My older sister is a teacher as well, both art teachers.
Yeah.
But when I was younger, my mom was teaching at the University of Rhode Island, and she was teaching a film studies class.
Oh.
So when I was in elementary school, I was introduced to a lot of movies that were critically acclaimed movies or award-winning films or very popular independent films that won awards. So it's kind of cool to be introduced to that at a young age, and that definitely influenced my sort of obsession with movies. And like, remember when I was a teenager, any money that I had, I would go and buy a DVD and build up my collection of DVDs, which is now sitting at my parents' house.
That's awesome. So we just passed by a display of various theaters that were in Qingdao that showed movies, sort of like a double function, both as theater and as cinemas. And here they have a display of famous directors and screenwriters throughout Chinese history, and sort of like their connection with Qingdao. For example, this director called Zhang Shichuan, he directed this movie that we see talked about so often, called 劫后桃花, played by this really famous Chinese actress Hu Die, that was released in 1935, and it was actually premiered in both Shanghai and the movie theater we were at earlier today.
Oh, wow.
And it was like a huge, cultural event where people, reportedly crowded the street, and there were probably press taking photos, sort of like, I suppose there was a red carpet or something.
Huh.
Yeah, so,
that's so cool.
Even though he's from Zhejiang, but he made this movie in Qingdao. Yeah, and also some screenwriters who have spent time in Qingdao and sort of have this connection with Qingdao. So when they write stories, I guess, you write about places that you've lived in.
Yeah,
or you're
places
familiar
you're familiar with.
Yeah.
And you can get inspired by your surroundings.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
wow,
I guess
yeah.
that's why so many movies, like Chinese movies, are about like people living in Beijing and Shanghai. And that just sort of naturally, because these are where, these directors, screenwriters live. So they have their stories there. So, likewise, if you lived in Qingdao, then you can make stories about Qingdao. Then it becomes sort of like a cycle of things.
Yeah.
Yeah. And over there, we can see a display, an exhibition, a tiny photo exhibition of the actress Hu Die. I was just mentioning to our tour guide, it's a shame I've not really seen many movies she's in because they were made so early, and a lot of these, footages, films were unfortunately kind of lost, I guess.
Yeah,
not really available, but I would love to see some of these movies. Have you seen many of old Chinese movies by any chance?
No, not many.
Because I think, like you said, because there's no subtitle, so it would be very difficult for you to appreciate the story and the plot.
Yeah. And also it's just difficult because for me, I'm using the resources that I have, which are going to be movie streaming sites that are primarily focusing on Western movies, because that's what I'm familiar with.
Yeah.
So trying to find maybe some like older, like obscure Chinese film, it could be quite challenging.
Yeah. It was funny because I was talking to this Austrian lady, and she was saying how she was watching a Chinese movie on Netflix that I've never heard of.
Oh, really?
Like a palace drama called The Perfect Match.
Oh.
So I don't even know if that's made specifically for a foreign audience on Netflix, or because I had never heard of it in China.
That's interesting.
So very interesting market, I guess, that's happening.
And I love the artwork for some of the movie posters. And that was really interesting. Earlier when we were at the theater there, the older theater, the worker was telling us that for some of the movie posters, they would get sort of a small print version of what the poster would look like, and then the actual workers there at the theater would have to recreate it in a larger scale and paint and actually make it themselves.
Yeah.
Which to me, I thought that was so interesting. That's so cool.
Yeah. I feel like running a cinema back in the days involved so much more like special workers with skills and special
like now crafts. I know
cinemas
in my hometown, I've had friends that have worked at them, and it's just
pressing a button,
Not even flipping a switch,
setting popcorns mostly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So these are some famous landmarks in Qingdao that are featured in in movies.
Is this the train station?
Qingdao train station.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. A lot of movies.
Oh, we have May 4th Square over there.
Yeah, like the Catholic Church.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Qingdao.
We were that's right near the movie theater that we were at earlier.
Yeah. Because they're just like so good to look at, so pretty.
Yeah. And that whole area just attracts so many people, so many visitors and tourists because right now it's mainly just a pedestrian area, so it's really comfortable to just walk around. You can take photos. There's lots of food there, and anytime there's any sort of holiday or festival, there'll be events happening there. I know the beer festival here in Qingdao is so big, and recently they started having multiple locations, not just in Huangdao. So I know they had one that was right in front of the church, and it was nice. They had a stage, they had live music and beer tents, not the large ones like they have in Huangdao, but yeah, it was cool, very cool.
And we're moving very fast into modern production, where the Eastern Hollywood production site started construction in 2013, and that's one you toured, right? Where you were really impressed by all these studios.
It's insane seeing some of the sheer size of some of these studios. And also they have, like here in the picture they just showed, they have a full recreation of like 4 square city blocks, tons of buildings. It's kind of like themes, kind of looks like maybe like Chicago or New York, maybe in like the 1970s, that kind of style. But yeah, it's like you're walking into a whole city.
Yeah, and it's interesting because back in the days, like the movies we watched were about people, you know, living in cities. They're very kind of mundane daily struggles, and then once you venture into like, you know, 2010s, it's more about like going to space, you know, like science fiction. It becomes a lot more ambitious, which I guess weren't possible to make back in the days with the limited technology.
Yeah,
and
it's
money.
very difficult. If you wanted to have it look like impressive or look almost realistic, back in the day, you'd have to be very creative with props and set design and filming techniques to try and make it look believable.
Yeah.
But now with all the advancements that you have with special effects, CGI, motion tracking, and green screens, and now they have the giant live LED displays where you move the camera and the actor is standing in front of just literally like a giant TV. I think
so you visited some of these like production studios where they do the post-production work.
So I think this is the Dolby Atmos sound mixing little mini theater they have.
Yeah.
This is their motion capture soundstage. I
Obviously,
sat inside this, and this was cool. So this is like hundreds of cameras, and they're just taking pictures of every inch of your body so that then they can upload it to the computer and make a digital version of you.
Yeah.
It's very cool. Yeah. Yeah, here we go. This is the virtual stage that I was talking about.
Oh.
Yeah.
And we were talking about someone from here, and they said, you know, the existence of this huge production compound has created so many jobs, you know, both upstream, downstream, construction workers for the set, post-production people, temporary workers, people, you know, who provide logistics.
Yep.
So it's brought a lot more jobs. So
and
now
then all the various background acting jobs for people, locals in the city. Yeah, it's cool.
And I know now you have friends living in Huangdao.
Yeah, I have a friend in Qingdao who has her own production studio, and recently they've been filming a lot of the like vertical dramas, like the vertical format dramas. Yeah, it's very cool. It's very cool, and it's a very big industry apparently. And so yeah, you could go walk around Qingdao and just stumble across a drama being filmed and not even realize it at first. I know they filmed in a vintage clothing store recently and filmed in some older hotels that are downtown in Shenan. Yeah, it's very cool. It's very interesting.
So do you think you'll have, you know, friends from back home who want to move to Qingdao to pursue their
their acting
movie,
careers?
acting, you know, or movie production
Yeah,
careers?
it's possible. It's possible because I know there's a lot of cooperation between production companies in China and production companies in like Los Angeles, for example. And for the vertical dramas that are being filmed here, a lot of the main actors and actresses are actually actors and actresses that are based in LA.
Oh.
And so they come to Qingdao and they'll be here for maybe like 2 to 3 weeks to film an entire series of those mini dramas. And yeah, it's pretty cool.
Great. So that was the Qingdao Film Museum, which is, I think it would be an absolute treat for someone who loves cinema or would like to learn more about the history of cinema and Qingdao's connection with the city.
Yep.
Yeah, so I hope that, you know, people who, you know, see this will be interested to come visit.
Yeah, they'll be inspired to come and check it out.
Yeah. And obviously, you know, it's a great year for Chinese cinema. Ne Zha is climbing up the ladder.
Right,
It became the biggest grossed animation movie in the world, right?
As of right now, it's the highest grossing animated film ever. Yeah, who knows, it could possibly be a contender in the top 10 of just films in general being the highest grossing.
So it's exciting time for Chinese cinema.
Yeah, and it's really great too, like coming back after the pandemic when so many people were not really going to cinemas, and now you have an industry that kind of struggled for a little bit, like globally, and now you have a lot more people going back to the cinema, a lot more movies being made, and movies being made that are actually like appealing and interesting to people, like good movies being made.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what we've heard from the cinema workers is that the amazing thing with Ne Zha is that it's a movie that anyone can watch. They have kids, they have, you know, people our age, older people, even like we just saw like a grandma, right, buying tickets into the movie theater for Ne Zha. So
we saw there was a mom with her young children, and then we saw there was a grandmother, and then there was a young couple that looked like they were in their 20s. So you had like every generation going to see that movie. And I haven't seen it yet, but I was talking about it last night with a friend of mine, and it's an animated movie. I just assumed it was a movie for kids. And I said that, and my friend was like, no, it's like a movie for all ages. He's like, there's a lot of things in it that are relatable for adults, relatable for children.
I think a full-grown man told me he cried during the movie.
Really? Oh, wow. Interesting. Well, now I definitely want to see it. That's cool.
Yeah, and I mean, it's like this amazing thing that everyone can relate to. You know, it can become something we can all talk about.
Right.
Like if I bump into you at a party and have nothing to talk about, I can be like, "Did you see Ne Zha?"
Like, what was your favorite part of the movie? Yeah.
And then at the same time, you know, it drives so many sectors of the economy. It's such a combination of, you know, different sectors coming together, development of different forms of art. So it's really, really, really cool.
Yeah.
Great. So I think that concludes our tour of the Qingdao Movie Museum. And thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.